entertainers posing as professional athletes. If they had the cheek to call themselves cricketers, I'd be surprised. Because they ain't cricketers. They couldn't have that gall to call themselves cricketers. Crash, bang, wallop, out. That's what we are, man. Calypso cricket. These players ain't playing for West Indies. They're playing for themselves. Yes, guys, week 4 of the Cricket World Cup. Everything has been blown wide open, I'll tell you. At first I was like, this World Cup is a bit of a damp squib, and I used that pun correctly because we had a lot of rain throughout June. The results were pretty much going the way of the favourites. It seemed like the top 4 were making their gap between them and the rest. It looked like England, Australia, India, New Zealand. That was it, going through to the semi-finals. And the remaining games were just gonna be, playing for pride. Now, I'm gonna talk about playing for pride when it comes to playing for West Indies in a bit. But Sri Lanka, how have you done it? How did you do it? The first game of this new week of the World Cup was Sri Lanka versus England. Hot favourites, England hot favourites for the tournament. And of course, hot favourites to beat Sri Lanka, who I think had only won 1 game, or maybe 2 games maximum by then. And they had a few rained out games. They got 1 victory against Afghanistan, and they were going to play England. And England, pretty much with a win, would have secured their spot in the semi-finals at the expense of, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc. And that top 4 would have been cemented with maybe 20 games left to go. And Sri Lanka, bat first, 232 for 9. Angelo Matthews, now, in hindsight, 85 not out. We said good score, but scored way too slowly. That's what we were saying. But they always say, do not judge a pitch until both teams have batted. Because what might look difficult or a low score for one can turn out to be the match winning score. The score that the other team just can't surpass. And so it proved. England, they were shocked to the core. Absolute shock to the core. Ben Stokes fighting 82 to try and get England back into it, but they just kept losing wickets at regular intervals. And Sri Lanka knew that they had to bowl them out. They made 232 for 9. They had to bowl out England if they were going to win this match. There was no way they were going to contain England. And it was the old wily fox, Latish Malinga. And obviously going into the tournament, we know he plays a lot of T20. His slower balls, people these days, batsmen have found a way to hit slower balls for 6, ramp shots and all those kind of things. Slow ball bouncers, Yorkers. He had all the tricks, but it's like, has cricket really caught up with him now? Has international cricket caught up with Sri Lanka? Do they need to go again and re-emerge and, some new talent? Because the likes of Murali, of course, not there. Haraf, retired. Jayawarder, Sangakkara, those greats are no longer there, and the team is somewhat unknown, if not inexperienced, by the legend. You have to say he's a legend, Latish Malinga. Absolute legend of the limited overs game, if not anything else. And he showed his worth, he showed his ability. He picked up 4 wickets, crucial times, crucial wickets. Brought him back at certain spells where England were just starting to build a partnership, and he came in and broke them. And in the end, England fell away 20 runs behind. And at that point, you're like, it's anyone's game. It's actually all to play for, because England's remaining games. Now, the way the features panned out at first, it was like, this is perfect for England. They get the wins they need, then they play the big 3, Australia, India, New Zealand. But they already lost to Pakistan. And this loss to Sri Lanka meant there was now pressure on the games against Australia, India and New Zealand. New Zealand, who at this point was still top of the league, them and India being the only unbeaten sides. It's rough, but we move. India played Afghanistan after that, and this Saturday itself was so dramatic. It was probably, this was to follow up from that shock result, the first big shock of the competition. I say big shock. Pakistan beating England was a massive shock, because England, after their first victory against Sri Lanka, and Pakistan their massive loss to West Indies, nobody would have expected it. But we know Pakistan have that in them. But 4 games into the tournament, 5 games in, wherever it was at the time, nobody gave Sri Lanka a hope in hell, especially with the score that was made. So this really, as I said, tournament, everyone had to take a step back and say, whoa, India, whoa, Australia, this ain't over. We've actually got some work to do. India played Afghanistan Saturday, as well as New Zealand, West Indies. At this point, West Indies, it was a must-win victory. Afghanistan out of it, but playing for pride. They got some runs against England in their chase of 388. They were never going to make it, but they got some useful batting time. But Rashid Khan, their main spinner, arguably the premier spinner in limited overs cricket worldwide, he got hit for 109 overs. So they had some making up to do, you might say. And we've heard about some, issues in the camp. Also, additionally, we know Shekhar Dhawan, he was out. He's out of the World Cup with, I think it's a fractured or broken finger. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, he was injured in their previous game. Didn't come out to bowl, and therefore he was not playing this game. And Mohammad Shami was brought in. And India batting first, restricted to 2-4 for 8. We know it's not going to be easier. That against that Indian bowling attack, and the inexperience or lack of quality that Afghanistan had, we know it was not going to be as simple as it may seem if they were playing a bigger, more established nation. But they pushed them close. They pushed them so close, and I feel sorry for Afghanistan. It took a hat-trick of the last over, the first hat-trick of the World Cup, from Mohammad Shami to really seal the deal. And it's a case of so close yet so far, because arguably, even though they are a test play, a member nation now, and we've had associates in the past win games, like Ireland beating England a few World Cups ago, 2011 I think it was, Kevin O'Brien, the fastest ever century. For me, this would have been the biggest shock. If not in World Cup history, since the 83 final of West Indies against India. Because as strong as India are, and Afghanistan just knew to this game, nobody would have given them a chance. But they pushed them so close. Unfortunately, they fell 11 runs short. 213 they made. But you have to give it to the Indian bowlers, because it's like whatever total their batsmen get, it's a case of, well, if those bowlers could restrict our batsmen to 224, we back ourselves to restrict them to less, and they backed themselves. So I said Jashprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami, they were the main contributors on the day with the ball. Bumrah got the Man the Match award. He's had a fabulous tournament so far, and Shami, of course, with that hat-trick. And Afghanistan, they would have learned a lot from it, even though they came away with no points. But they still have opportunities to at least get a win in this year's World Cup. And on the same day, we had my beloved West Indies playing. You have to say it was a game they had to win if they were going to qualify. Mathematically, they still had a chance after, but realistically, being that they only had one win in the tournament so far, England were 5 points ahead of them at the time. They had to win. And it was painful. I'm not gonna lie, it was painful. I was different moments of the game, I was left speechless. My emotions just went up and down throughout the day. Started off so brilliant. Sheldon Cottrell, first ball, LBW, Martin Guptill. You couldn't ask for a better start. None for one. A 4 and a few singles. From Williamson. Monroe comes on strike, his first delivery. Yorker, middle stump, Sheldon Cottrell. End of the first over, 10 for 2. But then after that, it kind of just fell away. You have a team 10 for 2 in the first over. And let me get this right. We didn't take another wicket. It was even 7 for 2. I lie, 7 for 2. 10 for 2 at the end of the first over. Our next wicket came in the 34th over, when the score was 167. What are you doing? What are you doing for 30 overs? Not one wicket. And that partnership, you have to say that partnership was what took the game or the innings at least away from us. Ross Taylor, Brendan McCullum, Kane Williamson put in that partnership. Then we started chipping away later on after that. But Kane Williamson just kept going. There was a chance, I think after he passed 100, where he glanced it behind the wicketkeeper. The third umpire said that he had dropped it the keeper dropped it as he went for the catch, low down. I had to see it again. I haven't actually seen it again, but looking at the ground, it looked like he had just got his gloves under it. But the third umpire said not out. It is what it is. But he went on and made 150, and him and some poor bowling from Carlos Brathwaite scored. He bowled 5 overs and went for like 11 and over. Who told West Indies he's a death bowler? Where did this come from? He don't do it in IPL. Heck, he barely plays in IPL. Is he death bowler in the CPL? I don't know. Who has told West Indies, Jason Holder, the selectors, the coaches, and Carlos Brathwaite that he is a death bowler? I don't see it. And so it proved. He got hit for 6, he got hit for 4, and New Zealand from 10 for 2. They got up to 291. It's not the first time I've seen this. We had Australia 38 for 4, 79 for 5, 149 for 6. And we let them get up to 285 and we failed to chase that down. We let New Zealand get up to 290, and now our batting had to go under the test, under the microscope, which has failed time and time again this tournament. As a matter of fact, I'm going to come out and say, barring the South Africa game where it was washed out, the batting ain't been great from game 1. We won the first game, but I wasn't even happy with the way we chased down that 130 odd. Streaky shots and just slashing and dashing. And since then, it hasn't really improved. We scored 300 against Bangladesh at Taunton, but that was always at least 30 runs too short, at least. The bowling didn't help at all. I don't think any score would have been defendable with that bowling, but we can't assess conditions and say this is a good score or this is how we're going to get to a target. But in this game, it was going well. We lost a couple wickets, but Gale, Hetmeyer, attacking as they were, we were 140 odd for 2. Comfortable. 20 odd overs, well ahead of the rate. Less than 6 and over, maybe it's about 5 and over we needed. And we gave the game away. Gave it away, just lost wicket after wicket after wicket. Attacking shot after attacking shot after attacking shot. And the worst thing about it is that we knew we were batsmen short. Evan Lewis got injured on the field, I think very early actually. We knew he wouldn't be batting, and if he came out, it would be very late. I think in the end he came out at number 8. So we had to bat, knowing we had a batsman down, but we batted like we had an extra batsman, like we had 12 men. It was just try and go 4-6, 4-6. Granted, we ran a shit through singles. Gale was running some short, quick singles and 2s. But we're just too carefree. we're playing a 50 over game like it's a T20. And I've seen this all tournament. It's shocking. It's poor. Hetmeyer, that shot. What kind of shot is that? Lockie Ferguson, they brought him back just to get a wicket. They needed a wicket. They were desperate. Brought back their premier bowler. First ball of his new spell, you give him a wicket. Hacking across the line, under edge, onto your stumps. An opening's created. The opening's created, and they burst through that like there was no tomorrow. Poor run, poor hooking or pulling early in your innings. Cool. I think Holder, well, he got out first ball. You know, it can happen. I'm not gonna blame Lewis for his shot. He's injured. He can't run anyway. He has to go 4 and 6. It was poor. Gale hold out down to long on. You lose a wicket at one end and you're still going for big shots at the other. Let's rebuild. Let's go again. We're ahead of the rate. What's the rush? I said these guys ain't professional cricketers. They're entertainers posing as professional cricketers. Frauds. Because they don't know how to play cricket. They know how to hit a 4 and they know how to hit a 6. They know how to get the music and the fans going and the crowd and the dances. They know it. But they don't know how to win. They don't know about game management. They don't have a cricket brain. Between the 11 or 12, if you get a sub on the field, probably about 2 cricket brains between them. Cottrell, salute to that man because he plays with his heart on his sleeve every time. He gives everything. He's a thinking cricketer. And Kemar Roach, travesty that he was left out of the side for so long. But other than that, you got to question all of them. Every last one of them is sick. And if you've been following my my cricket reviews on West Indies since the England series, you know I don't rate Carlos Brathwaite. That man's got no game. I keep asking what's his role. And we know he said, yeah, remember the name, Ian Bishop. Remember the name. And we've been trying to remember. But actually, I've been trying to forget because he ain't done nothing. But the man came to life. The man came to life. And I'm sitting there, 160 odd for 7. I'm just sitting there at Old Trafford. And I'm with my people. I'm just like, the game's over. It's done. It's just a matter of time. Brathwaite don't get no runs anyway. His average for his bowling is 40 and his batting average is 14. He's supposed to be the other way around. But boy, he shut me up that day. I tell you, he shut me up. That man, amazing. I have to say, I don't think I've seen a better one-day innings in my life. I don't think I've seen it. Now you may call me out this or that one, but in the circumstances, 162 for 7, you're just batting with the bowlers now. You got Roach, Cottrell, and O'Shane Thomas. That's it. And I think he was on about 13 at the time. He scored 90 runs after that, with numbers 9, 10, and 11. Amazing. I'll tell you that hitting, and he didn't get no chances. Gale was dropped. Hetmeyer was given a few streaky shots. He did not give any chances. Everything he hit was clean. 6, 4, 6. I think it was 9 4s, 5 6s. But I'm just thinking, like, you know, every so often another wicket would go. Kemar Roach, you had to play the good innings, you know, supporting the batsman at the other end. He gets out. And then Cottrell's there. He's sticking around. And he gets out. And you're just like, we're just gonna run out of partners. It's not gonna be enough. But I think about 3 overs, 3-4 overs to the end. Bolt bowls out, Ferguson bowls out, and it's just left the Grunham or whatever his name is, and Neesham. They've got the last 3 overs. 24 he hit off 1 over. And he's closing in a century. We're closing on victory. Hits a 2 gets his century, the crowd goes wild. I'm like, we're actually gonna do this. I don't know how I didn't start even thinking about it really until we got to about under 30. When it was 40, I'm like, just gonna take a wicket and someone's gonna go. And we got to 20 and I'm like, bro, we're gonna actually win this. I didn't believe until then. And at the moment I believed, I said, we're actually gonna do this. And we lost it. And I'm not gonna blame Carlos Brathwaite. I'm not gonna do that because I said, one of the greatest Indians ever. He got us to a position to even believe we could win. We needed 6 off 7. He had a couple swings and misses. Got the 2, as I said, to get to his century. Crowd went wild. 6 to win. The ball is short. He goes to pull it over a deep mid wicket, you might say. And he just didn't get it right in the middle. Caught, but I say on the boundary. Another inch, Bolt's foot might touch the boundary. Another yard, the ball goes over the fielder's head. We win the game, still in the World Cup, possibly got the momentum. It doesn't, sits just inside the rope. The game is lost. New Zealand are through. It's heartbreaking. I won't lie, it was heartbreaking. So the emotions from the first ball when I was up to the last ball when I was right down. And that is what West Indies do to you, man. But I said for that game, I blame with certain individuals and decisions. But as a team and how we got so close, someone has to step up at certain times, innit? This time it was Brathwaite to step up. I say this time, the only time someone decided to step up with a bat anyway. And it was just it's sad, man. Just missed out, man. But that is the way of the world. Someone has to win and someone has to lose, and it just seems like we keep ending up on the losing side. It's not a coincidence because it's always us. After that, we had Pakistan versus South Africa. Now, on the back of England losing to Sri Lanka, the door's open. Pakistan know they need to win their 4 games. Hope for England to lose maybe 2, possibly 3. I think just 2 would do of their last 3 games against Australia, India, New Zealand. They can get level. No, actually, they will go past. If they win 4 and England only win 1, they will go past England. So they're on a rampage now. And the similarities between their 1992 campaign and now are showing. Lost the first game, washed out second game, lost, won. So they beat South Africa. They put on 308 and bowled out. They restricted South Africa to 259 for 9. Should have been much more. And if it goes down to net run rate, they may ruse, but I think they dropped about 5 catches in the end. They could have finished that game with about 100 runs in the bag. As it was anyway, they won by 49 and they move on. Bangladesh, the door is open for them. That's how I tell you, that Sri Lanka game was massive because now you got 3 teams. Could have been 4 if West Indies won, but they didn't. 3 teams on England's card, on their coattails. And Bangladesh play Afghanistan. They hit 262 for 7, and they bowl out Afghanistan for 250 and a 5-wicket haul for Saqib Al Hasan. And for me, I'm already calling it player of the tournament. If Bangladesh get to the semis, it's no without a doubt. But if you don't get to the semis, it's only 2 matches less than whoever wins it. And nobody backed Bangladesh to get to semis. I did. I got money on them actually. But the way that some of the commentators talk about them, everything's a shock. Saqib Al Hasan, they're like, I didn't realise he was so good. The man's been number 1 in the world as an all-rounder for years now. And I, as a West Indies fan, I've felt firsthand the pain he's inflicted on us in the last few years. So I'm not surprised by this Bangladesh. If anything, I expected him to win another game that they hadn't already. I think they had a game washed out. Was it against Sri Lanka or South Africa? Could have been both of them actually. They probably should have won or could have won. And then the New Zealand game, I think it was, they should have won that one. They came close and they fell away in the order. They kind of gave it away in the end. So I think they're probably a win down on what I was predicting. So I'm not surprised by them. But they won that game, 7 points, 1 point behind England, as were Pakistan with 5 points behind. On 5 points at the time. Then England had the first of their final three, the big three fixtures. One might say even an Ashes warm-up. Played Australia, and frankly, outplayed, outclassed. And England are in trouble. England are in big trouble. Lost by 64 runs in the end. 285. Australia made. Aaron Finch with hit a century. David Warner hit a 50. And if anything, at one point, to be fair to England, even though they put them in to bat, and they would be very disappointed that Australia put in 100 and what was it? 100 and for the first wicket. 123. They would have been very disappointed with that, because obviously they won the toss, put Australia to bat. You want early wickets. Don't think they put all the balls in the right place consistently enough. But everything they did beat the bat. Slightly unlucky, but not in all not good enough. Australia were looking to go for over 300. So to even pull them back to 285, I think they did very well. I think at one point I was like 320 is what Australia are looking at, which would have been a very good score being put into bat. 285 is what it was, but after that England, they collapsed. Absolutely collapsed. Berendorf? Is that the guy's name? Berendorf put 5 wickets on the honours board in Lords. Mitchell Starc 4 wickets. Ball was swinging and hooping, and England couldn't handle it. And it's not a good sign, because when the pressure is on, you expect your big players to come to the fore. But time and time again, when the pressure is on, England's big players crumble. Ben Stokes, he made his 89, brilliant innings. But other than that, those batsmen got to look at themselves. They got to take a long, hard look at themselves. You give credit to the Australian batsmen, of course. The Australian bowlers. But you're at home, world #1 side. But it seems like when you come up against quality bowling, whether it's spin, whether it's seam, it all falls apart. And I am surprised. I was surprised they lost that game on the back of the Sri Lanka one, but I'm surprised they found themselves in the position they are. Because I backed England to get to the semis. I had them and India as my favourites to win it. It was nip and tuck, but I had them ahead of India with the home advantage. But after this week, boy, I don't even know if I got them to go through. We'll go into the permutations in a second. But they lost that game, 64 runs, pressure on. Now, Pakistan have got New Zealand. New Zealand's already qualified. Pakistan, no. Now, this is now the second game of their last run of 4 that they have to win. And I felt, especially after how we played against New Zealand, and I saw a lot of frailties in that game and other New Zealand games. For me, New Zealand, the position was a bit forced based on who they played and when they played. Some games were rained out for others, whereas those games for them, they played them and they got the result they needed. And all their bigger games, you might say, have come in the second half when certain points have already been accumulated. So their position, you don't begrudge anyone the win, but slightly forced on the team's performance, and they've been very much carried by Kane Williamson. And they'll go up to score some big runs in the first game, but other than that, it's a bit flaky. They are a bit flaky. One other person usually steps up, but you can't say other than Kane Williamson, he's the only one who's been consistent. And in this game, they made 237 for 6. Jimmy Neesham, very, very good. And he was the one who stepped up. 97 not out. Who actually got them to that score, because at one point that wasn't even looking likely. So he did well to get to that score. But the big, they also had Colin the Granholm, I think his name is. But the big wicket at that time was Kane Williamson. And I was looking at the similarities between this and that innings and ours. And it was their spinner, Shadab, who got his wicket. And I've said for a while, since we lost Narayan, our issue is in those middle overs, between overs 11 and 30, now 11 and 40. We don't have a wicket-taking spinner. We can't play spin. Got an odd player who can, but as a team we can't play spin and we can't bowl spin. So those 30 over periods, we get squeezed when we're batting, but we're unable to squeeze or take the crucial wickets, break partnerships, disturb momentum. We can't do it. They got Williamson on 43, and for me that was a turning point, because we know what Williamson can do and guide New Zealand to a substantial score. But then even then, the way Pakistan batted, you might think that even if New Zealand got up to 300, Pakistan would have chased it down. The fans, I think they were playing with Edgbaston, so that was Karachi. That was Karachi. It was a sea of green and the odd black cap. And Baba Azam hit his first century in World Cups and led them to a comfortable 4-wicket victory. I think they had an over to spare, and they were going at no point did they look like they would lose that game. Literally at no point. They were always ahead of the rate. New Zealand didn't look very threatening with any of their bowlers, really. Bolt fresh from taking 4 wickets against West Indies, he looked pretty ineffective. And Pakistan, they knew they had to win, and they won on a roll. 2 points behind England, 1 point behind England in the race for the final spot. And then today, for me, was the biggest embarrassment for our tournament so far, West Indies. It was a must-win game, a game I didn't think we would win, but a must-win game nonetheless. Mathematically, we were still in it, but realistically, the maximum points we could get was 9. Pakistan and Bangladesh can get 11. England can get 12. Sri Lanka can get 12 as well. We were never gonna go through. And I said, I don't mind losing cricket matches. You can't win them all. We've got a young team, but someone has to win, someone has to lose. So it's not about all the winning or the losing all the time, but it's how you lose. It's the way you lose. How you go down. Are you going down fighting? Are you going down for a whimper? Have you given up? Have you lost because the team is that much better than you? Or have you lost because you gave it away? And too many times this World Cup, we've given the games away. We've given away the initiative. Australia, we gave away the initiative. Bangladesh, we just were outplayed. New Zealand, we gave away the initiative. England, outplayed. India, better side than us in quality. But with the ball, we gave away the initiative. With the bat, we were never in the game. It was a joke. But we had them 180 for 5. Missed a big stumping off Dhoni. Might be actually a bit less than, but missed a big stump off Dhoni. He went and made a runnable 50 pretty much. Took Thomas for 60 in his last over. Brathwaite, we saved him, held him back, bowled him in the final power play. He got hit for, 26 off his overs or something like that. Shane Thomas hit for 60 odd. Between the both of them, I think they went for 99 in their 10 overs combined. And they were bowling to death. Cottrell, salute to that man again. Kemar Roach. Even Holder had great figures. Allen came in for Nurse, he had good figures. But bloody Brathwaite and Thomas has been bowling utter tripe all tournament. Get the man out of there, man. Where's Kemo Paul? Where's Dwayne Bravo? Where's the options, man? You got 2 spinners and between both of them, they can't even spin the ball. I said you pick one, you pick Nurse or Allen, and you're done. Because in some games, you ain't even gonna use a spinner. We didn't use a spinner in some of the games. So why do you need 2 in the squad? Then you pick that Darren Bravo, who was in the most horrendous amount of form. He's in the squad. You bring in an injured Russell, which is fair enough because he's that match. He's a game changer, but he's injured. Gabriel's injured. Lewis came in with a slight injury, but he was fit enough to play every game bar the first, so that's fine. But you're carrying too many injuries, and you wonder why the players are breaking down, and you're clutching after that. You're clutching. There's a lot that's wrong with this whole World Cup. We restricted, you might say, India for 268. I said 20 runs too much. Under 250 would have been a good total, having the fact that they won the toss and decided to bat. But it was a used pitch. We knew batting second was going to be difficult. They had 3 spinners at their disposal. And we never got close. Never looked comfortable against the seamers. Shami, Bumrah. I think we were 29 for 2 after the first 10. Lowest 10 overs power play in the World Cup of all teams. And then the spinners came to the fore. Kuldeep Yadav, Shalal, the other Jadav, I don't know which one's which. But we can't play spin. We can't pick it. We got no game management. We attack when we should defend. We defend when we should rotate. It's just a mess. You have to say, where is the cricketing brain? If you get beaten by a good delivery, a googly that you didn't pick, fair enough. You say, I need to work on that's technical. But up there, why are you playing certain big shots? You're building a partnership. I don't remember who it was. Hope and Gale got out early. Then you had Poran and Hetmeyer. And you're trying to build a partnership. The score's not massive. So you can afford to, slightly fall behind the rate in the hope that wickets in hand, which we can't seem to keep, wickets in hand will allow us to catch up later. No, we must get the runs now. We must score all the runs now and finish the game in style, crash, bang, wallop. As I said, entertainers posing as professional athletes. If they had the cheek to call themselves cricketers, I'd be surprised. Because they ain't cricketers. They couldn't have that gall to call themselves cricketers. They're entertainers. Everyone loves them. Opposition love Chris Gale. They love Dre Russ. They love Hetmeyer, Brathwaite. They love it. Because they hit still 4s and 6s. Crash, bang, wallop out. Crash, bang, wallop out. That's what we are, man. Calypso cricket. Everything's a fun and joke. These players ain't playing for West Indies. They're playing for themselves. They're playing for a big contract. Embarrassing. And I hope all these players are bloody embarrassed. I hope they are. I can't guarantee it. Because I said they're playing for themselves. They hit enough 6s a new fresh IPL contract around the corner. Pakistan Super League, Bangladesh Super League, Big Bash, South Africa, Caribbean. It's all there. The money's coming in. They don't care because as long as they can entertain, they can bring in the crowds. They ain't playing for West Indies, man. They're playing for themselves. And it means we're out. Another disappointing tournament. Big questions need to be asked of this West Indies team. From top to bottom. Top to bottom. I ain't even going to get onto Gale and him announcing that he's not retiring and he's going to be playing in the series against India after the World Cup, because he's playing for his play. Why is he guaranteeing himself that he's going to be in this squad? Because based on this World Cup, he don't deserve to be anywhere near the squad. I said I'd give him the World Cup because he's a legend. He helped us get qualified for the World Cup, which is embarrassing in and of itself. But I'll give him the World Cup. But he's been poor. They've all been poor. Bar Cottrell and Roach. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. But we move. Big week coming up. First and foremost, what we got first? Sri Lanka versus Africa. This is the first of 3 games Sri Lanka need to win to get into the top 4. Pakistan versus Afghanistan. Again, another win will... Well, actually, if they win that game, they would actually move into the top 4 before England play India on the Sunday. Now, that then becomes a must-win for England, because if they lose that, it's out of their hands. Pakistan can then win their last game against Bangladesh and secure that victory. If Bangladesh happen to beat, which I can't see happening, but if they happen to beat India in their next game, which is after England-India, and England don't beat India in their game, then it's all over for them. Because there's going to be a result between Pakistan and Bangladesh in the last game. So someone's going to get onto 11 points, and the maximum England can do is 10. And that will be embarrassing for them at their home World Cup. Gone into it as world number 1, favourites. They've invested so heavily in this brand of cricket. And it looks like it's falling flat on his face. But this World Cup has thrown up enough twists and turns for me to be doing too much predictions at this stage. What we do know, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, England, the fight is on, the race is on for that 4th spot. Australia, New Zealand, India. See you in the semis.